On the day marking 75 years of tireless dedication, Princess Anne, the resilient and unwavering woman, became the center of attention, not for her crown or titles, but for the quiet dignity of a heart that has devoted her entire life to service. The world honors her not for what she possesses, but for all that she has sacrificed, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of the public. As the entire world bows in respect to the truly deserving Camilla unexpectedly appears uninvited and unannounced, carrying with her a cold ambition hidden behind royal velvet and the practiced smile of a queen. What should have been a ceremony of reverence turns into a ruthless test of grace, where darkness and light begin their fierce clash. If you find this story interesting, leave a comment with the number 1, and if not, leave a comment with the number 0. Don't forget to hit like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other exciting videos. Now let's dive into the story. Anne was pushed out of the spotlight, but she made no move to reclaim it. She calmly waited, knowing that the moment would come when the one truly deserving of the crown would have the patience to stand still and let the truth speak for itself. What really happened at Princess Anne's 75th birthday celebration, and why did an entire nation fall silent over a dress? As the sunset painted the sky red over Buckingham Palace, the ethereal light bathed the ancient stone walls as if nature itself bowed in reverence to a moment of destiny. This grand celebration was not just of an individual, but of a powerful symbol of the British monarchy. Inside the Grand Hall of the International Charity Forum, the light from crystal chandeliers sparkled like precious gems, blending with the pure white of the silk curtains and the soft golden hue of roses, Princess Anne's favorite flower. On July 9th, 2025, the world gathered not only to celebrate her 75th birthday, but also to honor a living symbol of the British monarchy, an unwavering flame of service. This was not just an ordinary ceremony. It was a global summit, a sacred circle connecting dedicated souls from all corners of the world. Nearly 60 countries took part, from high-ranking United Nations delegates to environmental activists, all carrying hopes and ambitions to change the world. Outside Buckingham Palace gates, American networks like CNN, NBC, and ABC set up broadcast stations with dozens of cameras ready to share every moment of Anne's speech with millions worldwide. Inside the hall, female leaders, from seasoned politicians to ambitious young girls, filled the seats, their eyes shining like stars as they eagerly awaited the princess's opening address. A woman who has dedicated her entire life to turning humanitarian dreams into reality. The hall was elegantly adorned, not lavishly, with soft white ribbons gently floating in the air, blending with the faint fragrance of yellow roses, creating an atmosphere that was both dignified and warm. On each table, placards bearing the names of international charity organizations were etched, serving as a reminder that this event celebrated compassion, not personal ego. Delegates, ranging from a child rights activist from South Sudan to a female entrepreneur funding education in India, whispered to each other, sharing stories of Anne, the woman who inspires not only with her words, but also through her steadfast actions. A BBC reporter sitting in the press area quickly scribbled, "This is the moment Anne is not just a princess, she is a beacon of hope." But as the stage lights were about to ignite, a storm was quietly brewing in the shadows, cold and ominous. In a small room just a few steps away from the main hall, Queen Camilla stood before the screen, her hands tightly clenched, as if holding back a torrent of fury. Her gaze was sharp, capable of piercing the stone walls of Buckingham and cutting through the heart of her adversary. On the screen, Anne appeared, stepping into the hall to thunderous applause. Her smile was radiant, yet regal, like a queen without a crown. The crowd rose to their feet, their continuous praise echoing from a symbol of compassion to the rightful heir of Queen Elizabeth II. Camilla gripped her glass of wine tightly, her fingers pale from the pressure, the delicate crystal trembling as if it might shatter. Her voice was low, almost a whisper, yet each word sliced through the room's stillness. If this event succeeded, the press would crown her the spiritual queen. She paused, eyes flashing with anger, a flame sparking in the dark. As for me, I remain nothing but a shadow in the public's eyes. Nearby, Margaret Hale, Camilla's trusted advisor and longtime confidant, stood with her silver hair neatly pinned, catching the dim light. She knew this silence was the final chance to make a decisive move. Margaret's voice was gentle yet sharp, like a snake gliding through the grass, cautious and full of resolve. Your Majesty, the public is easily swayed. They crave the spotlight, the glamorous stories. Just a single moment, a flash of stage light, and they will forget who Anne truly is. Camilla didn't respond immediately. Her lips pressed into a thin line, but her gaze shifted from anger to a dangerous determination, like a hunter spotting its prey. She knew that this moment marked by calm would decide everything. Recently, King Charles, whose health had been declining for several months, had entrusted most of the royal duties to Anne, from wildlife conservation campaigns in Africa to programs supporting disadvantaged children in Eastern Europe. With her tireless dedication, she had become a symbol of the royal family's compassion, appearing on the front pages of newspapers from the Times to the New York Times. Anne's prominence was not just a personal triumph, but also a powerful blow to Camilla, who had always felt overshadowed in the darkness. International media began to praise her as the rightful second heir to Queen Elizabeth II. This title not only elevated Anne, but also cast Camilla further into the shadows, where she was seen as the woman of the past, a queen who had never truly won the hearts of the public. This comparison, though unspoken to her face, remained a deep wound in Camilla's soul. The feeling of being underestimated and unrecognized was something she could never accept. Each article praising Anne, each tribute to the monarchy's steely heart, felt like a dagger to Camilla's ambition, her drive to be recognized, admired, and to truly shine as queen. But Camilla wasn't one to stay in the shadows. In her mind, a bold, sharp, and risky plan was taking shape, a plan not just to take center stage, but to erase Anne's legacy on this momentous day, turning the princess's 75th birthday celebration into Camilla's personal triumph. She turned to Margaret, her voice cold yet filled with determination, as if delivering a challenge without needing to raise her voice. Prepare everything. I want this moment to be mine. Margaret nodded, a subtle smile curving her lips, as if she had been waiting for this command for a long time. Her eyes gleamed with complicity, and in the dim light of the room, her smile resembled that of someone holding a deadly secret. The sense of alliance and the readiness for this bold strategy were palpable, just waiting for the right moment to unfold. The storm had erupted, and Buckingham, no matter how magnificent, was about to become a battlefield of ambition and dignity where light and darkness would clash endlessly. The clock struck 7 p.m., and the sound of the bells echoed through the grand hall of Buckingham Palace like a symphony signaling a fateful play. The soft glow from the crystal chandeliers converged on the stage, where Princess Anne appeared elegantly and majestically in a sapphire blue gown. The delicate hue, reminiscent of the sunset sky, strong as the deep ocean, reflected her essence. A woman exuding regality without a crown. Anne moved gracefully with each step, asserting her presence as if the whole world had to stop and listen. She smiled at the crowd, her gaze radiating faith and compassion, a warm flame in the chill of winter. As she spoke, the entire hall fell into absolute silence. Anne's warm, resonant voice echoed as she shared her philanthropic journey. Small villages in Africa were built by the strong hands of women. Orphaned children were given the opportunity to learn turning dreams, once deemed impossible, into reality. "We are not here to change the world in one day," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "But every small step, every outstretched hand is a spark that lights up the future." Her words struck deeply into the hearts of the audience. The hall erupted in applause, the sound echoing like waves crashing against the shore. Female leaders from United Nations representatives to young activists from South America looked at Anne with admiration. Some quietly wiped away tears, moved by her simple yet powerful stories. A delegate from Africa seated in the front row whispered to a colleague, "She's not just a princess, she's a pioneer of compassion." This was the moment Anne witnessed the world recognizing a woman who had devoted her entire life to a cause without seeking attention. But then, like a cold blade cutting through the atmosphere, the grand door of the hall swung open with a loud bang. Light flooded in from the hallway, and a figure appeared, radiant and proud, as if stepping out of a classic royal portrait. Queen Camilla stood there draped in a classic purple velvet gown, the very gown that Anne had worn when welcoming Princess Diana in 1985. With its exquisite stitching and deep purple hue reminiscent of the night sky, the gown had once symbolized Anne's elegance and authority, a piece of royal history that seemed to have been lost in Buckingham's secret archives. Now it was revived on Camilla, quietly but sharply proclaiming, "I am the center." The crowd froze as if time itself had come to a halt. Whispers rippled through the room from the front row to the very back of the hall. The reporters sensed a story unfolding. Camera flashes went off in rapid succession, turning Camilla into the focal point of every gaze. CNN, BBC, and international media outlets all aimed their lenses at her, capturing every detail of the gown, every confident gesture. Within just 15 minutes, social media exploded with sensational headlines like arrows aimed straight at the heart of the event. Camilla shone in the spotlight, becoming the royal revival queen. She dominated the stage in the iconic gown. On stage, Anne's voice faltered, her words cut off like a melody abruptly stopped. Her gaze locked on Camilla, her face calm, but her eyes sharp as a blade, ready to slice through any facade. The hall, once filled with emotion, now buzzed with confusion. Guests exchanged puzzled glances, unsure why Camilla had chosen this moment to appear wearing the gown so closely tied to Anne's legacy. A United Nations delegate, Aisha Khaled, shook her head and flipped through the event program, searching for an explanation. Camilla, radiating confidence that bordered on arrogance, strode toward the stage, her heels clicking coldly against the wooden. The crowd clapped loudly, but not out of excitement, rather out of awkwardness. Anne, sensing Camilla's entrance, broke the silence of the event and quickly made a decision. With her characteristic calm and seriousness, she nodded to the event coordinator, signaling to pause her speech. She didn't want a public confrontation to overshadow the purpose of the forum to honor compassion and global unity. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more, don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our exciting videos. Now, let's continue the story together. With a graceful gesture, she placed the microphone down, stepping back towards the wings and directing her gaze toward Camilla. Anne, pushed out of the spotlight, stood silently in the wings, her hands clenched tightly. But this wasn't a sign of fear or surrender. Within her, a fire burned, a fire of dignity, pride, and of a woman who refused to be diminished. Her eyes followed Camilla not with anger, but with a deadly calm, like a hunter slowly savoring the passage of time. She turned to Emily, her loyal assistant of 20 years, and whispered coldly, each word like a bullet. "I'm not here to celebrate. I'm here to replace." Emily, standing beside her, felt a chill run down her spine at Anne's tone. Beneath that calm exterior burned a fire not of anger but of unyielding pride and resilience. Meanwhile, unaware she had stepped into a dangerous battle, Camilla confidently made her way to the stage. An event staff member, startled by her sudden appearance, dropped the microphone, and Camilla grabbed it like a warrior clutching a weapon. She smiled a sweet yet calculating grin and spoke each word with precision, claiming the spotlight. "I'm honored to be here as a queen, part of this journey inspiring modern women." The room fell into an awkward silence, as if the air had been sucked out. International guests exchanged confused glances, trying to understand this shift. Some American sponsors seated at the front whispered to Emily, their voices tinged with suspicion. Is Camilla the host? We thought this was Princess Anne's event. Some of the American sponsors whispered, their voices filled with doubt. Camilla, basking in the stage lights, remained unaware that she had sparked a battle she couldn't win. Meanwhile, Anne, concealed in the shadows of the wings, poised with intellect and determination, was ready to respond not with words, but with an action that would echo across the globe. In the grand hall of Buckingham Palace, the stage lights burned brightly like stars, but the atmosphere had become thick and tense, as if an invisible storm was about to break. Camilla, at the center of the stage, continued her speech, her voice sweet yet sharp, like a seasoned actress holding on to a play that was falling apart. Every word, every gesture was meticulously calculated to reinforce her image as a regal queen. But beneath the surface, the crowd remained restless, their polite applause not hiding the underlying discomfort. Doubtful glances passed between rows of seats. The American sponsors sitting in the front rows whispered among themselves, glancing at their phones where social media posts spread like wildfire, praising Camilla's unexpected appearance in the iconic dress. But in the shadows backstage, a spark of hope burned fiercely and relentlessly, ready to tear through the curtain of lies. Emily, Princess Anne's loyal assistant, stood in the wings, her heart pounding like it was about to explode. Her phone buzzed faintly, an ominous sound amid the backstage chaos. An anonymous email appeared. No elaborate subject line, just two simple words, the truth. The sender signed only as PL. Emily's hands trembled as she opened it, her fingers barely obeying her. Attached was a video shot on a phone. Low quality, blurry, and shaky visuals, but the audio was crystal clear and chilling. She skipped through the first few seconds, and her face turned pale, her eyes wide with shock. Without hesitation, she slipped through the backstage crowd, dodging speakers and cables, searching for Anne, who stood quietly in the shadows, her sharp eyes fixed on Camilla out on the stage. Princess Emily whispered, her voice trembling but firm, "You need to see this, right now." Anne turned to her with a calm, icy gaze, like a general readying for a decisive battle. No fear, no hesitation, just a deadly stillness, as if she had prepared for every possibility. Emily reached out with a still shaking hand holding the phone. The screen lit up, and the video began to play its sounds, soft yet piercing, slicing through the air like an arrow. The person behind the camera was Priya Luther, an Indian-born service worker who had once been employed at Clarence House. Years ago, Priya had been just a young girl homeless, wandering the frigid alleys of London, struggling to survive alone. That winter, when hunger and cold nearly consumed her, it was her aunt who found her during a charity outreach. With sharp, discerning eyes, the princess had seen something in Priya's desperate gaze, a flicker of light that refused to die no matter how brutal life had been. Anne didn't just give Priya a job at Clarence House. She took the time to listen, to encourage, and to help her reclaim her dignity. Anne told her she was not invisible and that she would never be as long as she chose to stand tall. Priya's gratitude toward Anne ran deep, and it was that loyalty that pushed her to take this bold step. The video captured a secret meeting at Clarence House just 2 days before the event. In an elegant sitting room, firelight flickered against the oak-paneled walls, casting strange, shifting shadows. Camilla sat in an armchair, hands clasped tightly, her posture regal yet haughty. Across from her were 2 advisors, Margaret Hale, wearing a sly smile, and a man named Gray, whose voice was low and measured. The camera, likely hidden inside a vase or picture frame, captured every word, every glance.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Camilla's voice was ice-cold, each word laced with venom that served no purpose but to wound. She paused, letting a mocking smile curl on her lips, sharp as a blade. She lives off reputation. I live for timing. That dress is a dagger. I'll slice clean and erase her from history in a blink. Margaret Hale nodded, her eyes gleaming with conspiratorial delight. The public will only remember the queen, she said, her voice smooth as silk. The gowns, the lights, the speech, it will all be yours. Anne will fade into the shadows. Gray spoke next, his tone flat and practiced like a voiceover in a commercial. We've ensured the press is in place. A few timely headlines and Anne will be nothing more than a footnote. No one will even remember her speech. The video ended with Camilla's soft laughter, a chilling sound like glass shattering in perfect silence. Emily felt a cold shiver run down her spine, as if Camilla's icy presence had seeped through the screen. Anne, on the other hand, simply watched in silence. Her hands were clenched so tightly her fingers had turned pale, but her face showed no emotion. No anger, no pain, not even the slightest frown. Only her eyes betrayed her cold, resolute glinting like a blade poised to cut through deception. She set the phone down, her movements slow and deliberate. Then she turned to Emily, her voice low but firm like a declaration of war that didn't need to be shouted. Emily, if she raises a blade, we'll hold up a mirror and let her face what she really is. Let the whole world see who she really is. Emily nodded, her heart filled with resolve. She knew this wasn't just a clash between 2 women. It was a battle between dignity and ambition, between truth and deceit. Wasting no time, she rushed to the tech crew, relaying Anne's order with precision. Prep the main screen, she told the technician, her voice trembling but commanding. We're playing this video. As Camilla continued her speech, her voice echoed through the speakers. A counterattack had begun, quiet but as powerful as a tsunami. Priya Luther, once on the margins of life, had become a beacon of truth, and Anne, with her deadly calm, was ready to turn that spark into a blazing fire, one that would expose the darkness of ambition and lies. She regained trust, respect, and her place not as a symbol of power but of service. And Camilla, though now gone, would pay the price for her deception in a world where crowds no longer offered shelter. Within just 24 hours, Buckingham Palace, once a symbol of grandeur, had become the epicenter of a global media storm. Social media erupted like a volcano. Hashtags like #JusticeJury for Joshua's royal manipulation and Camila's sabotage spread at lightning speed, dominating platforms from X to Instagram. Priya Luther's videos exposing Camilla's dark conspiracy were shared millions of times, sparking outrage and disillusionment. From London to New York, Nairobi to Tokyo, the world couldn't stop talking about the moment the Queen's mask was torn away right before the eyes of everyone. CNN's Evening News ran a bold, razor-sharp headline. A shocking expose video rocked the international charity forum. Camilla faced an unprecedented image crisis. The BBC, usually reserved, devoted a full hour to analyzing the collapse of Queen Camilla's public image. Commentators from royal historians to public relations experts called it an indelible stain on Camilla's reign. A veteran journalist from The Guardian wrote, "Camilla gambled on the spotlight, but instead of glory, she found only darkness." International humanitarian organizations and advocacy forums acted swiftly. UNICEF, UK, UN Women, and the Global Fund issued polite statements while withdrawing from any campaigns involving Camilla. UN Women's press release stated clearly Queen Camilla's actions are inconsistent with the humanitarian values and transparency we stand for. The Global Fund. Camilla declared, "We stand for the truth." These were more than just refusals, they were a public judgment on Camilla's ambitions. While the world raged, Princess Anne chose silence, a silence as powerful and unshakable as a mountain before the storm. She held no press conferences, gave no interviews, and avoided sparking the flames any further. She regained respect, and her standing not as a symbol of power but of service. And Camilla, though gone, would pay the price for her deception in a world where crowds no longer offer shelter. Within just 24 hours, Buckingham Palace, once a symbol of grandeur, became the epicenter of a global media storm. Social media erupted like a volcano. Hashtags like Justice Jury, calling out Joshua's royal manipulation and Camilla's sabotage, spread rapidly, dominating platforms from X to Instagram. Priya Luther's videos exposing Camilla's dark conspiracy were shared millions of times, sparking outrage and shattered illusions. From London to New York, Nairobi to Tokyo, the public couldn't stop talking about the moment the Queen's mask was torn away before the eyes of the world. CNN's Evening News ran a bold, razor-sharp headline. A shocking expose video rocked the international charity forum. Camilla faced an unprecedented image crisis. The BBC, usually reserved, devoted a full hour to analyzing the collapse of Queen Camilla's public image. Commentators from royal historians to public relations experts called it an indelible stain on Camilla's reign. A veteran journalist from The Guardian wrote, "Camilla gambled on the spotlight, but instead of glory, she found only darkness." International humanitarian organizations and advocacy forums acted swiftly. UNICEF, UK, UN Women, and the Global Fund issued polite statements while withdrawing from any campaigns involving Camilla. UN Women's press release made it clear Queen Camilla's actions are inconsistent with the humanitarian values and transparency we uphold. The Global Fund added, "We stand for the truth." These were more than just refusals, they were a public verdict on Camilla's ambitions. While the world raged, Princess Anne chose silence, a silence as powerful and unshakable as a mountain before the storm. She held no press conferences, gave no interviews, and avoided sparking the flames any further. Princess Anne, who always chose a simple and humble lifestyle, never sought the spotlight to draw attention. Her conduct throughout the event earned widespread admiration. Without needing to speak out, Anne's actions made the world reconsider the true value of a person within a monarchy. The way she faced challenges, overcame hardships, and maintained calm and steadfastness was a lesson in living with dignity without needing to show it off. Meanwhile, Camilla, who had once been so strong in crafting her image, was suddenly swept into an unforeseen storm. Her choices, deceptions, and hidden schemes were ultimately exposed. With no protection left, Camilla faced public rejection and condemnation from major organizations, something she could never have imagined. These events showed that in a world full of turmoil and ambition, only sincerity and dignity are truly irreplaceable. With compassion, Anne extinguished all ambitions and drew attention to her true values. Her quiet strength during difficult times was how she maintained her resolve, and that's what earned her respect and admiration. Anne's actions, though subtle, were powerful enough to transform her from a woman with a voice in the royal circle into a symbol of loyalty and service.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
If you found this story intriguing and full of emotion, don't forget to hit like and share this video with your friends and family so they can discover these captivating tales too. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our latest videos packed with dramatic and exciting stories. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos.